Hello, and welcome back to the Agape Project. I'm author and minister Cynthia Middlebrooks Harris, and I want to thank you for joining us these last 4 weeks. This is week 5. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about controlling the environment of your loved one that has Alzheimer's or dementia or is handicapped or stroke victim. Um, my mother is wheelchair bound now. And so I don't really have this problem as much because she's not as mobile. And once I place her in bed at night, she usually is going to be there until I come back to get her the next day. But if you have a loved one that is still capable of walking and moving around, you're going to almost need to childproof your home, put things away that they could harm themselves with, especially if you're not in their care 24 hours a day. You want to make sure that you have non-slip rugs in the bathroom area that they're going to be walking into, and a night lights in their room, and have their room semi-lighted at night, so if they do get up to use the restroom, that they're not bumping into things or falling over stuff. You also want to realize what makes sense to you in your mind is not what they comprehend. So in my case, when my mother first came here and she was able to still move around, certain things I put out of her reach so she couldn't get to, because she'll do something that makes absolutely no sense to me, but to her what she's doing makes perfect sense. So you want to make sure that you keep cleaners and those things up out of their reach, because you don't want to see them, you turn around and you see them pouring bleach into the juice cup, or something that makes absolutely no sense to you, but to them it makes perfect sense. So you have to almost childproof your home to make sure that you keep them safe. In my mother's case with dementia, she has to process everything that's going on around her differently. So you're going to want to control their environment. When they're around a lot of people coming at them quickly, it's very hard for them to process what's going on around them. They have to make an assessment of everyone coming in their direction, whether they're coming for their good or whether they're coming for their harm. Just the other day, I was changing my mama in the bathroom, and I says, "Mama, I'm going to lift you back on the toilet." And I'm back into your chair, rather, when we got her off the toilet. And I went around behind her to put my arms underneath her arms to scoot her back into the chair. And she went wild thinking I was trying to hit her. And as soon as the nurse came in, she's trying to hit me, because to her, when my arms came through her arms to pull her, all she saw was my hand coming toward her. So she processed it as a violent act of me against her. So you have to be very careful and explain to them everything that you're doing to them. Don't take for granted that they understand, because their definition of what is normal is totally opposite from what you feel is normal. So take time to talk to them and tell them everything it is you're about to do and why you're doing it. Even though you told them yesterday, every time we go into the bathroom, I explain to her what we're getting ready to do. Every time I change her clothes, bathe her, I explain to her what we're getting ready to do. Getting ready to load into the car, I explain to her what we're getting ready to do, because she has to process everything, and it processes differently for her now in her mind. So you want to kind of control her environment, the amount of people that they are around all the time, and kind of the same people, so they get comfortable with them. So that's one thing that you want to have to try to remember to think about with your loved one. Another thing is, when you're feeding them, I think we mentioned this before. Know the limitations. If my mother's having a difficult time trying to figure the spoon out this week, then I make it easy for her, and I fix finger foods for her that week. I make her not try and process too much, because the more she tries to process, sometimes the more frustrated she gets, and then she just completely shuts down. But if I make it a little bit simpler for her and then praise her for doing such a great job, she gains more confidence. And then when I put the spoon back in front of her, she picks it up like a champ and starts to eat. Another thing that you want to remember is, and I kind of found this out the hard way, and my sister kind of warned me, but I kind of found out the hard way. If you have very important things in your home, especially if you have a dementia, mail or important paperwork or documents, do not leave them in the reach that your loved one can get them, because they'll pick them up and they'll place them someplace and you'll never see them again. They'll put them in some unorthodox location that you would not even think of looking for them at, and they won't even remember that they picked them up and placed them there, so they won't even be able to tell you. I have cleaned out my mother's drawers and dressers and went to her room and found things in places. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, why in the world would she put this here? Well, to her it makes perfect sense to put it there, but it makes absolutely no sense to someone who thinks normally. So my advice to you is, don't leave your keys laying around. Don't leave your purse laying around. Don't leave your important documents, cell phones, glasses, those mail, those things laying around them, because they will pick them up and they'll stick them somewhere to hide them from you, so you won't steal them from them, because they think that everyone is stealing from them. And you will literally probably, even in your own home, never see those items again, or running across them looking for something totally different and wondering why and how did this get here, and they will not even remember putting it there. So word to the wise, you want to make sure that you keep important things out of their reach, or out of rooms that they are incapable of going through. And if you have stairs, and if your loved one is still, like my mother's not walking around, so I don't have to wonder if she's gonna fall down the stairs to my basement. But if your loved one still walks, you want to make sure that you have a lock on that door high enough that your loved one cannot unlock that door to go into the room, because you have to realize it's almost like having a toddler in your home. You have to put things away and put things up that they could potentially hurt themselves with, because the important thing is, you have them in your home because you want to keep them in a safe environment. So you have to childproof your home and make it a safe environment for them. Depending on how mobile they are, is depending on how much you have to childproof your home. So realize that everything in your world that makes sense is complete opposite for them. And don't take for granted that this, because they had a wonderful day today, that tomorrow will be just as good of a day. Tomorrow may be a total disaster. Don't take it personally. My mother, when she goes on dementia, Terrence, tired, whatever you tantrums, sometimes she will just have the filthiest mouth. And then people are like, no, not your mother. She's so sweet. She's sweet with you. But when she's comfortable with you and she feels threatened, you'll be surprised what will come out of their mouth. But you can't take things personally, because if you do, you'll start being. That's why people in nursing homes treat them so badly, because they don't love them. So they're going to take personally when they curse them out or say things to them. And they'll sit there and leave your loved one wet in that pull up of that diaper all day long, or they'll knock them around because they don't understand why they're acting the way they're acting. So study the behavior of the person so you can keep the home safe for them, and you can keep a safe mental thought process, and keep your emotions safe as well in dealing with them. So we want to just bring out a few things today about keeping the home safe. I know I probably missed some stuff, but as I'm thinking about it, I'm jotting down little notes to share with you, just little tidbits of what I've learned just in the short time that I've been taking care of my mother. Keep their environment safe. Keep their environment controlled as the amount of people that they have to process, and always tell them exactly what it is that you're doing. Don't assume that they know the process that it takes to give them a bath. They may take an action that you're coming at them aggressively. So keep that in mind when you're taking care of your loved one, and you'll have much better and softer and more relaxed days with them. God bless you. And again, thank you for sticking in there and taking care of your loved one. This is the Agape Project, week 5. Thank you.